Hey America, this is Chaplain Wanda Thomas. Listen to Wanda Road to Success with Great Wisdom Unlimited every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time during the Gospel Connection on WNJRradio.com, America's hottest web radio experience. This web radio program offers you information and tools that will help you to become empowered with skills for successful life outcomes. With so many different ways you can listen, you're going to love the way we sound. And now we're on Alexa. Just say, Alexa, play WNJR, be blessed, and get connected to us.
Across the country, we have connected with the only donation weekly news activation
Let's talk
relationships on
UME
UMEradio.
So what are we talking about?
Marriage, dating, parenting, business,
And love, emotions, sex.
it's a conversation with me, Lady Misty,
And DJ KTE.
on everything from hot topics to taboos.
Join us Mondays at 9 p.m. live on UMEradio.
Follow us at Let's Talk Relationship Show on Facebook or on UMEradio on Instagram. Let's talk relationships, arguments for the grown.
Get the UMEradio app to listen wherever you are. That is UMEradio, one word.
UME Radio. Positive entertainment 24/7. Subscribe on YouTube and click the notification bell.
Good night, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Relationships. I hope you're doing well out there. How are you doing? Let me know who's in the room with me tonight. Who's keeping my company tonight? I would love to know. So, welcome to Let's Talk Relationships podcast. And as usual, we have a very interesting and engaging topic that we want to pull you into tonight.
We certainly do.
We want to explore the different dynamics. Hi.
Hey, shout out.
Hello.
Good night.
Yes.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Shout out. For those who are good, for those who are viewing me, let me apologize for my ambiance that's going on right now. I have a darker ambiance that's going on right now. Yeah, I have to be changing spaces and all of that. Oh, it's just a whirlwind of activities happening in my life right now.
But the whirlwind will come to an end.
I'm happy to be here.
Uh-huh.
Yes, I hope so. Anyhow, I am still so happy that I am here. Travel Escapades, I see you in the room, live and direct in the front seat as usual. Thank you so much. I see you too, Marsha J. Good night. And to all those on YouTube and Facebook, if you're watching, welcome to Let's Talk Relationships. So, of course, we explore dynamics and the evolution of relationships, identify challenges, and offer perspective through transformational conversations to inspire positive relationship outcomes. That's what we do over here at LTR. So tonight, we are discussing the topic valuing the male ego. Interesting.
Yeah, that's what I say. Yeah,
valuing the male ego. Yeah. Very interesting. I can't wait to hear all the nuggets that will be dropped tonight. But before we do that, I say this every week. We start with an attitude of gratitude. So we want to say a big thank you to all our partners, our supporters, our listeners, our viewers. It is our hope that this show can be a source of empowering information for you. And of course, a place where you can come and challenge your own thinking and a safe space to address issues, that affect our relationships. Well, if you need help, that's why we're here. So if you need advice or answers to any questions to help you grow in your own relationship, please drop it in the comments section or feel free to email us at ltranswers@gmail.com. That's ltranswers@gmail.com. It is our hope that this program will be a support to you to help you build strong, healthy, loving, and divine relationships. Cheers to love and happiness on UMEradio. I am Lady Misty, and of course, I'm
And this
here with
is
my most
DJ.
amazing co-host.
DJ KTE. That's for you. Yes. And we're excited to have you here tonight. We are truly, truly excited.
That's right.
And
that's right.
It is July 19th, 2021. And the time is approximately 9:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And again, Lady Misty, where's the light in where you are? Is it behind you or beside you or above you?
It is okay. It is above me.
Is it movable? Do you have a movable lamp or light anywhere in the house?
No, this is not movable. I'd have to move. So I'd have to move.
Okay.
It's stationary.
Okay.
But I think I have to move.
We can't see your normal beautiful face like we did last week and the week before.
I
just seen spots.
I see the
headphones and the smile. The smile is so bright. I know it's I made it smile, but if you can do something with the light, that'll be great. But if not, we can hear you loud and clear.
All right, I'm working on. I'm working on it. Yes. Travis says he likes me in the dark. Oh my God.
but you know, there's no saying. There's no saying dark and. Do you know the word? Dark and lovely. Oh my God.
Lovely.
Lady Misty. Yeah.
Yes, I got it. Dark and lovely.
Yeah. There you go. See that? She got it. See that? She
all right. No.
She's on point.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to work on it.
He's on point.
In the meantime, but I got it. Yes, I do.
There you go.
Yes.
Yes. How was the day today, Lady Misty?
All right. So just in case you want to listen to us or you don't get a chance, okay, you just chipped in and out a while ago. My day, I'm actually running on E right now. Can I say that out loud?
Lord,
I am running
Lord, strengthen
on
her.
E.
Oh boy.
I've had a very, very long.
This Wi-Fi has a way of acting up. But I tell where she was going that it's been a long day for her. My day was interesting. It was interesting, I must say. I woke up to rain, and it was a good feeling to hear the raindrops, you know. And of course, I got to share something that I actually learned yesterday. That a lot of people, they take the days for granted, and you think about COVID and how many lives were lost. And here we are, still in the land of the living, and some of us probably since then have had birthdays and so on. So the minister said after COVID, he'll have a birthday every day for 6 months straight. And that's been conservative because he now even more so love and cherishes life that much more. So again, we're glad to be here. But we do want to thank our partners, and UMEradio.com, where you can go and check out our radio station. We want to thank iTunes, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, TuneU, Google Podcasts, Podbean, TuneU, Live 365, Spotify, Stitcher, Play FM, and of course, there's so much more. We have new partners, and we're just loving the expansion that's happening with our radio station, and you, the listeners, are just making it such an exciting journey as we grow as a community and as a people. And we just hope to bring you really, new and good information, and just really make the show a beacon of, I would say, good information and restorative information and life-changing information that folks can not only be entertained, but folks can be enlightened. There's no saying you gotta be in it to win it. And we know we've seen folks here week after week, and you guys are real dedicated. And we thank you. Those on Podbean, those on YouTube, those on Facebook, those on all the other platforms. We are truly thank you for just your continuous participation. And we want you to be a part of this network. We want you to see how deep it is and how you can get involved. Different areas. Wants to know that there's room, and we promote ownership and branding, and and bring out the gifts inside you. There's gifts in all of us, and some have multiple gifts. Some may have one or two, but we're here to help you to furnish that gift and bring it out and let it rise, and let the world know that you are here with your own fingerprint that no one has. So want to shout out a happy birthday to what? To Auntie Jody. Yes. Big up Auntie Jody. Happy birthday. I hope that you really had a good one.
Big up Auntie Jody.
Yes. All right now. And we wish you so much more and much more happy ones. Yes, that's what we do.
Auntie Jody and I get along so well because we're born in the same month.
Oh, really?
So big up yourself, Auntie Jody. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, my birthday was 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice.
So happy birthday, Auntie Jody. I know you had a blast. Good night, Chevelle. I see you. Good night for those who are just coming in the room. All right. I'm working on my lighting issues. Listen to me, guys. I hope you all are praying for me and my devices.
I hear you. Okay? But you know what? You
continue
sound so
to pray for me and my devices.
You sound so clear. I love it.
All right.
So
oh, yes. Praise the Lord. At least something works. Something works this week. Something works.
Yeah. So we hear
all right.
We're here too.
Oh my goodness.
Again, talk about the male ego.
I heard you, DJ KTE, talking about I heard you talking about yes, and I heard you talking about today. Today is Nelson Mandela's International Day.
Yes.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, South Africa. Yeah, he was a major player in where South Africa has been. He was in jail for many years for his role in standing up and going against apartheid. And he's one of those black heroes who came out and didn't quit. And I guess I would say the greatest thing in life that we can do is to never ever quit. If you fail,
that's right.
Like my coach always say, fail forward. So we see what happens.
Right.
when someone
and I love the theme. I love this year's theme. One hand can feed another. Yeah. And you know what? Speaking about that, we are going to go into our spotlight, and we are going to be talking about a special woman of God whose hand is feeding a lot of people.
Yes.
So for tonight's spotlight, our first spotlight tonight, we are shedding the spotlight tonight on Dr. Apostle Faith Walters. Yes. With love, right. Of course.
Yes.
And of course, she has a new book. Yes, she has a new book, Reborn. She has a new book, Reborn. And so we want to welcome Apostle in the room. Oh, good night, Apostle. How are you doing?
Night. Lady in red.
Hi,
Lady in red.
Lady in red. We're both in something red tonight. Apostle, apologies that you're not seeing me. My devices are just not working with me tonight. But I'm happy that you can hear me. It's lovely.
Yes.
It's lovely to see you as usual. And you have a brand new spanking book called Reborn. So
there you go.
How did you arrive at that topic?
Oh my goodness. Good evening, everyone. But before I get into it, I want to say a big shout out to
I see
Auntie
the one.
Jody. Happy birthday.
I'm
I'm going to take a sip. Sister Auntie Jody.
All right.
I'm full of surprises. All right. Okay, we set now. I'm ready to go. All right. Good evening, everyone. I'm so glad to be here on the show one more time. And I want to talk about my book that just came out a few weeks ago.
Nice.
And this topic, Reborn, it's something that came to me so many years ago because it explained where God took me from a place of darkness into the marvelous light.
Nice.
So it's as if I was reshaped, taken from brokenness into evolving into what he desired me to be, and evolving into fulfilling the purpose and the plan that he has for my life. So this book has it's been in the making for about over 20 years. And it took a while to get here the Lord had to fine tune me and, make some changes. Even some things I didn't remember, he brought it back to my memory. So it took a while to get this book together, but I'm glad it's out, and it's to touch people's lives and to turn their lives around. Let them know that whatever you're going through in your life, whatever you've been through, whatever hurt, whatever pain that has happened in your past, God can and will heal you and bring you to a place of purpose, bring you to a place of where he can use you to help somebody else, build somebody else up, and let them know that there is hope. You don't have to give up, and you don't have to give in, and you don't have to feel like you're a failure. Okay. And this book is to empower you, to let you understand that God is there. Even though there have been times you may feel like you are by yourself, God is always there, waiting for you to reach out to him, and call on him and say, Lord, help me. So this is to encourage you to build your life and to advance you to the next level in him.
Wow. Dr. Faith, I tell you, it's interesting because we've had you a few times on the show, and one thing that you have remained consistent in is you're very candid. You just say it just like it is. You know what I mean? You've been there and back. You've had the journey, and you said, listen, guys, you know what? We ain't got time for this. Let's make it happen. Let's tell the story. Let's be open. Let's be transparent, because people are going through stuff, and people are crying out in their own ways. So what better way than to just be open, transparent, and be vulnerable, and touch lives. I mean, so I do appreciate that about your ministry and how you really love on people and just give them your heart and yourself. And I'm sure that that we're going to hear a lot more about you in this book as time goes on, Dr.
Yes,
Faith.
yes.
Reborn. Yes. All right. So you can order at amo.org/resources.
Yes.
Or go to faithmerchandise.com/MERCH merch. I love it. Love it.
Yes.
So we're definitely on an upward bound this year, second half of this year, and they're definitely going on in style. So I can imagine.
Can I read the back of the book? Can I read the back, the blurb?
I would love to hear the back. Please.
Okay. It says, this book was inspired by my own personal life experience of breaking free from over 30 years of emotional, mental, physical, sexual, social, verbal, financial, and spiritual abuses, many of which began in my childhood into a toxic marital relationship and integral parts of my adulthood. This story can be mind-boggling, It is promised to touch your mind, body, soul, and spirit. It was the Holy Spirit who instructed me to pen my thoughts. He didn't bring me through to keep it to myself. It is to provide healing and encouragement for many in the body of Christ and beyond who experience these challenges and are not allowed to voice their pain. It's my hope that this book will impact your life in such a way to open your mind to possibilities of the greatness and magnitude of God. Emphatically, it is not his desire that you stay in your negative situation, but to burst out and become the woman or man that you are destined to be.
Wow, that's powerful. 30 years.
Over 30 years, yes.
So you have a lot of wisdom you can impart to the younger woman, and that's and what better way than do that. So purpose is in play here, Dr. Faith. And we here at UMEradio are very happy to share that journey with you, to actually to network with you as well.
Thank you.
And to help to expand. It's amplify the voice. Yes, amplify that voice. You know, we've been blessed to be in right now over 116 countries across the world. And we get the emails and the responses, and that's the idea, you know, is to keep on doing so. So we have, Lady Misty having a little technical difficulty.
Yes, I'm seeing that.
But she will be just fine.
Here she is.
She came up. There you go. Can you hear us, Lady Misty? Unmute yourself real quick. See if we can hear you. If you could just unmute yourself, Lady Misty, we will definitely be able to hear you. Yeah. But we hear, and once she's getting herself together, we'll definitely have her in. But again, folks, tonight we're talking about a very interesting topic. So again, Dr. Faith, we're happy to have you. We're glad that you are here to share with us, and we look forward to seeing more of you and more books, I'm sure.
Yes, there's another one coming in a few more weeks.
You see that? See, you're not playing games. You're on this. You're on this. I'll say you're on this treadmill here, and you're not stopping, are you?
No, I'm not.
We love it.
I'm gonna keep going.
I guess now you're just priming to get my book out, because I did write a book.
Okay.
But I've had some delays on getting it out. But I'm going to actually now. I think I'm being even more so motivated now to get that book out.
Yes, so, it's the time.
Yes. So we have Mitch. We have Coach Raquel going to be filling for us for a few minutes. She'll be here with us, and she's always bring that light, the energy that she brings every time she shows up. So we have to have you, Coach Raquel.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm just kind of sitting here for Lady Misty until she gets back.
Yes.
It's such a pleasure having you, Apostle, and spotlighting your book tonight. I think it's very inspiring that you wrote your story, because our stories for other people is for the empowerment of others, right?
Yes.
And some of us go through so much, and sometimes there's some people who die under the pressure or suffer under the pressure, and there are others who write about it and learn from it and leverage it and use it for the empowerment of others. So that's really beautiful, really inspiring story. And we're also having you here as a part of the panel tonight, which is fantastic.
Wow. I do my best.
We're talking about the male ego.
Yes.
And just to note that this topic was chosen tonight based on a recommendation or a request by a guest. And so it's being discussed. So valuing the male ego, that's the topic. And I think our other guest is in the room as well. Kevin Davis. Yes. Are we here?
Yes. Good night. God bless you.
Good. We cannot see you. But we
You're
can
right.
add,
There we
there
go.
we go.
Good to have you. Good to have you.
Wonderful.
Good to have you, sir. Good to have you, sir.
Yeah,
Welcome.
Yes.
my pleasure. My pleasure.
Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing more red.
Okay.
You know, so we have red. We have more red showing up. See, that's a good thing, right?
Is
Red
it?
up in here.
Is it? I don't know.
Yeah. Your background. Your background. It's nice.
Yeah,
Nice little
yeah.
red going on.
Yes, quite a bit. Yeah, thank you.
Good to have you here.
Awesome. So just to share a little about our guest, is Reverend Kevin Davis. He is the husband to Keisha Davis. He has 3 children. I don't know if I can pronounce the name. Gavri, Elijah, okay, and Caris.
Yes. That's correct.
You're the pastor of First Assembly of God, Mandeville.
Mandeville.
Mandeville is my hometown. That's where I was born.
Oh, is it? That's interesting.
Yes.
Interesting.
He's a premarital counselor. And I think it's a project, My Life Mission. Oh, your life mission summed up is kingdom expansion. I like that.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yes.
Awesome.
That's
So
what
we
it's
have,
about. That's what it's about.
yes. So we have two kingdom builders in the room.
Yes.
Because Apostle Faith is, as it says, apostle as well. She just shared her story. So that's fantastic. And I think, well, let me just share a little about Apostle. She's a CEO and chairperson for Women and Men of Excellence Outreach Ministries. She's a certified sex therapist, counselor, and more. And she's an author of 2 books. The first one is Poems About My Self-Esteem and Reborn, and another one coming. Yes, we're so happy to have you on the show. Say that again, please.
And my CD.
Yes, erotic expression. No, spiritual erotic expression of love. How can we forget?
Wow.
Yes.
It's a bit strong.
So she's a singer-songwriter for that song, that CD. So it's fantastic. It's such a pleasure having both of you on the show tonight. I'm also a guest. This is actually not my show, so it's really Keith's show, but because Lady Misty is having some issues, I'm just sitting in for her. So I'm Coach Raquel. I call myself a DPI, Divine Purpose Investor.
Yeah.
So So let's have the conversation, male ego. Yeah. The male ego, what does that mean to you? Let's start with the men. What is the male ego?
Yes, I like that.
Please tell us. Yeah,
well, I a few years ago I stumbled on something. I stumbled on that word in my Bible. Actually, I just clicked on the word I, and then I discovered that the same word in the Greek for ego is I in English.
I like that.
And it says a lot about that word. It is simple, yet still it can be one of the most problematic words in the world. I mean, it's in the negative sense, yes. A lot of all the problems that we have in the world now is a result of ego. But then there's the positive spin, on it, where it has to do with your self-perception, and for me, that's basically what it is. And so your ego can either be negative in the sense that, the scripture tells us that let no man see himself as more highly than he ought to, but have a realistic opinion of himself. And you also have the negative, but you also have the positive, where you have self-confidence. You have as I said, a realistic opinion of yourself. So that's kind of my take on it in a nutshell.
Yes, thank you for that, Keith.
Well, Co-Build Advanced English Dictionary said someone's ego is their sense of their own worth. And so, for example, someone has a big or huge ego. They think of themselves very highly, are valuable. So I think that the ego is really it's a part of a man that that is part of his essence, you know, is what drives him to go to the sky, to reach the moon, to jump, to leap over mountains, to dig ditches, you know, climb on the rocks. I mean, you know,
it's his superpower.
Yes, it is. It is. You know, it's a man. What the ego is a man that can be scared. You're never gonna know it. You can be as scared as a mouse. You will never know it because the ego said no. You're gonna show the world that you're the man right now. So the ego is a force that allows a man to, I would say, do things that he that he would probably normally wouldn't do, but then of course it allows him to be to feel centered, you know, as the pastor was saying, as long as he's tamed by God and tamed by reality, you know, and he's kept in check, then it can be a great asset to a man. It really is.
Awesome. Dr. Faith?
Well, I guess
how do we identify this male ego? Yes.
Oh my goodness. Oh wow. Well, the men have said, I'm glad hearing from the men their point of view. Yes. And what my take on it is a man that's in control, a man that's you know, he has a lot of positive attributes, and a man that feels good about himself. Okay. And you talk about identifying the male ego, and the man that is able to control his environment, control himself, and control his environment, control who he is as a person. Okay, and that's how I connect to the male ego.
Oh, cool. So let me just share what our producer have here. The term male ego gets thrown around a lot in popular discourse, often without any clear definition. In order to understand how the male ego shapes men's thoughts and behavior, it's important to draw attention to the ways in which it is socially constructed. In other words, much of what we consider to be the male ego is based on long-held assumptions and stereotypes about masculinity and maleness that have social meaning and have been, for the most part, unconsciously internalized by most men. The male ego is driven by recognition, attention, and action. Men are assumed to be more active beings who do important things, such as political leaders, soldiers, scientists, etc., and who are deserving of attention by others. I'm not quite sure what that just said.
I like that.
That's nice.
But you find that in our culture, in fact, in my culture growing up, it was looked at as something very negative. So a lot of times, in my experience, when a woman would address the ego, like, why your ego so big, or you so egotistical, or whatever it is, it was always out of some kind of negative vibe. So you never looked at it from that angle, you know, as if it's something that's positive or can be used for something great. It was always looked at as if you don't have an ego, don't be you, don't be so whatever. You know, sometimes they confuse the ego for being cocky when you really just be confident. You know, so it's has been a very interesting thing for me, see how it's used in our culture. Yeah.
Well, my next question, go ahead, Pastor.
You're absolutely right about that, Keith. I was thinking about that. Culture does shape a young man, you know, building up his ego, because a lot of times in the culture, a lot of how the young boy feels, he's not allowed to express anything. He's not allowed to express feelings or emotions. You know, he has to keep it suppressed, keep it under, because they often say that if you are a boy don't cry. Boys don't show emotion. Boys, if you show that, then they may have you give a word that you're girlish, or they say different things to make you
I've heard that.
lesser than who you are. So that right there can also destroy who, as you're growing and building,
a sense of self.
Yes, a sense of self, a sense of a being, a self-esteem, and make you feel lesser than who you are. So and I've learned over time that a lot of this suppressed anger that men are allowed to keep down as they evolve and grow. After it starts to fester and go into something else. So I feel that if the culture had a way of allowing young boys to, let it out, don't keep it bottled in, because I believe tears is a message as well, something that helps to soothe our mind, our thoughts. I know it's helpful for us women, so why can't it be? What's wrong with a man crying? There's nothing wrong with that, but it's so embedded in the culture that in many cultures that men are not supposed to show any type of emotion. So that can also affect, their sense of self,
Official Marsha J says, yes, men are classified as sissies if they show any emotion. Sad. Thanks for that, Marsha. Go ahead, please, Pastor Davis.
Well, I agree that in cultures, the expectation can be a bit much, and persons tend to, go overboard with it. As you mentioned, the whole issue of crying, and men are not supposed to cry, yes, in a sense, men are seen as weak when they cry, but it has to do with what you're crying about. At what point are you crying? Because you're not supposed to be crying when you need to be strong. When you're supposed to be, when everybody else is looking to you for leadership. And of course, I am a firm believer that men are leaders, and that's how God had structured the thing, but at the same time, you express your emotions. I mean, if you lose somebody that's dear to you, you're going to cry, but you're not going to cry, like, for example, Ahab bawling to his wife because the gentleman didn't give him his property. That's stupid, that is yes. And I have to kind of bring this out here because I understand the whole, the connecting with your emotions and so forth. That's fine. And I believe that some men tend to shut down and they become, very dangerous, as a result, because at the time when they explode, it becomes, somebody loses their life.
It comes right back. That's right.
Know how to manage the emotions. But at the same time, those who will lead, especially women or children and so forth, they look to us to be steady, to be firm and to create some form of stability. So when they're panicking and don't know what to do, where to turn, cannot come up with a solution, they don't want to see us join in with them. What are we going to do? So in those times, it's very critical that a man maintains his composure, even though inside, he might be broken, but because everybody else is looking to him for leadership, he has to show that kind of strength. Because to be honest with you, if your leader doesn't is showing you that he don't see no hope, and the whole thing is there's no help for us, then everybody's going to panic. But then if the leader now says this, that listen, it's going to be okay, and offers some sense of hope and show some strength, then everybody would be more encouraged. So it's not that men are not supposed to cry, but we have to know when to cry, and when not to cry.
Yeah. Depends on the circumstance. Depends on the circumstance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I would just like to pause to welcome our next guest that just joined us. Thank you so much, Lady. She's a Christian publisher, podcaster of the podcast Unfiltered by Jade. And is it Jade or Gade? I hope I got it right.
Jade.
And these are topics that she taught Jade. There we go. Yeah. So she discussed relationship topics on her podcast as well. So she's very fitting for the conversation. Welcome to the conversation.
Thank you.
we were just at what is the male ego and how do we identify it, and we're going on to understanding deeper the origin. And pastor is pastor different from reverend? Let me not mix up your name. Is it Reverend Gail or Pastor Gail? Sorry, Davis.
It doesn't matter. Kevin Davis.
Okay.
The name,
Okay.
it's
Okay.
fine.
So,
But when I'm called Pastor Kevin, so and I'm comfortable
okay.
with that. Yes,
Okay, great, Pastor Kevin. So you said something as it relates to where this ego came from or its origin. You said something that was interesting, that ego meant, the meaning for ego was I, right?
Yes.
Could it be that the ego is the I am within us? So let's go to Lady Adigo, since she just joined. Where do you think the origin came from of this ego?
I have no idea where it came from.
It came from somewhere, though.
I know it came. It came and took over everything, and especially when it is that God had, for me, I think it is when God had given Adam the authority over everything. So coming from that, a male feels like, to feel like he
dominates.
He dominates things, to feel masculine, to feel like he's man. I think that's where it all started from. And he was then put in charge of. And when the woman came, he was also put in charge of. And he was now the leader, and we were now the helpmates. So it's that's where the ego came from, because it was now all man, woman, man.
Let me ask Dr. Faith something. Dr. Faith, I think you have 2 boys, right? 2 boys? I believe, right? 2 boys.
Yes, I do.
So it's Dr. Faith. Now, confession is good for the soul. Okay, it's good for the soul. So when your boys were young, maybe 2 or 3 or 4, run around, they don't know, a lot of energy, all these boys over here, and very energy-like. Did you say when they fell, probably stumped their toe or had a bruise, did you say, come on, don't cry? Did you ever say to them, don't cry?
No, I didn't say that. No, I let them be boys.
Okay.
Let them be boys. Okay. It's all part of life. You gotta hit a little, hurt a little, and let the body heal itself.
So when they were crying,
you have to learn to be masculine.
So when they were crying, you didn't stop them from crying. Like, why are you crying?
No.
Stop crying. Okay.
No.
That's good.
Because they have to learn how to balance life.
Yeah, I think
I had to teach them how to balance.
In the society, we also have this expectation of men. I know I do, to be brave and strong, and like if I'm in a room and something, let's say an insect comes in or something happens, I'm looking to the man first. I'm like, I'm not even saying anything. I'm just looking over at him, expecting him to conquer that threat. It's something that I naturally go towards too, even as an independent woman, because I am. And at times I've had to fend for myself. But if a man is in the room, I automatically I'm expecting. So I think we also thrust it upon the man. I had an experience the other day with my business partner, and he's male. And we had a conversation. And after the conversation, I don't know if it was God talking to me or me talking to me, but I was really sitting myself down like, what did you expect him to do? And as I sat there kind of trying to understand what was happening, he said something to the effect of, I don't like to apologize, and I don't really care for someone to apologize to me. And I was just kind of sitting there like, what does that mean? And as I sat and I thought about it, and I was going through the conversation and the interaction, it's like I was having this experience where it's like, I felt like it was God talking to me, like, Raquel, what you are encountering with him is his manhood. That's just his manhood. And you have to allow him to be in that energy, because that's who he is. Yeah. So you have to understand that he's not going to interact with you the way you interact with him. And it just kind of took me aback, because I never really thought about it like that before. And I really kind of sat down and was going through in my head the conversation and just understand. He was really struggling in the conversation because I was like moving real fast. And I remember at one time he was like, slow down, let me answer you, but I was going so fast, and I felt like it was kind of a challenge with him, because I'm accusing him of one thing, but I'm also not giving him the room or the space to even address it, because there was this, his manhood was so, I guess, offensive to me. It was hurtful. It felt almost hurtful, but I feel like it's because I'm not really used to it. I wasn't really used to that male energy showing up that way, like
the alpha male, huh?
And yes, and I had to really sit and really think about it, and it led me to this question, like who is impacted or affected by the ego, and or how do we interact with it? How do I interact with the male ego? How do I recognize it, and how do I interact with it? How do I honor it?
Yeah, well, there was a book that was written. I don't remember the name of the authors. It was a very good book, and I actually use it in my premarital counseling sessions, and this over the past couple of years. And it has to. The title is about women loving women and respecting men, something to that effect. Love and respect. Yes. And what the authors sought to sell us is the idea that women value love, and they thrive on love when they receive that sense, whether the simple things or different expressions of love, they value that. And for men, they thrive on respect. And men want to be respected, and I've researched it. I've observed different couples and how they function, and I see the role that these two principles play in the relationship in terms of strengthening the relationship. And I realized that I agree, because a man wants to be respected. Men want to be respected. If you're in a group of men, right, you're going there are things we do. There's a language that we speak, and there are some things you do not do, because the man is going to consider, right, and that is it. Men want to be respected, right, and so if we feel threatened, we are going to stand our ground, and that is something especially women need to really understand.
One woman asks, what does respect look like to a man, for a man? Thank you, Marsha, for that question.
That's a good question. I'm the same thing.
So
I like it quick too, because
it depends.
Like, does it mean surrendering to him? Does it mean pretending like he's being correct? What does it look like?
No, well, you approach him. You don't minimize his ego. All right, you approach him in a sense that I am not trying to put you down here, but I am trying to just explain something to you. For example, your situation. Rather than your response was fine, but rather than for somebody, in that situation to put him down, to let him feel that whatever he's saying is ridiculous or resist him, that is considered a threat, and disrespectful, but to simply respond, even if the person was wrong, the way you approach it, the way you say to them, all right, really, this is the way I see it, and as the saying goes, you stroke his ego, right? You say it in a way that, and these men value these things.
But what if a woman asks, why do I need to stroke his ego? He's not my man, my husband, my partner, my love. Why do I need to stroke this man's ego? Like why?
Okay, Ms. Lawrence.
He's a man.
What do you think, Ms. Lawrence? What do you think, Ms. Lawrence?
He's a man. He's a man, period. He's a man.
I mean, hearing it, it's so funny, because I had this discussion on the podcast this week about men and their ego. What's it about?
You did?
That's what it was about. That's what's about this week. And it's so funny because I heard Pastor Davis say that men want respect. I think men need, and I was corrected to say no, men don't want, men need, because just as how women need love, men need the respect. So what happens in the relationship is the woman wants to be loved by her partner, but he needs to be respected. So if it is that's not happening, if it is that a woman is with a man and she doesn't respect him, she cannot love him. And if it is that a man is with a woman and he doesn't respect her, he cannot love her. So we have to know how to use these things in terms of like conversations and how to stroke their egos. I wasn't always good with it. I've learned from my dad, my brother, how to go about things. We as women tend to go about things differently. And we have to learn that men, although they said that, oh yeah, we hear what you're saying, how they deal with listening to us and dealing with situations are differently. Men want to fix things. And if it is that we don't give them the opportunity to fix things for us, they feel like they're helpless. It's not that we women sometimes want you to fix things for us, but we're coming to you to talk to you. We can do that with our girlfriends and talk to them. But with a man, you're going to him with a problem. He is solution oriented. So he is going to find solutions for the problem and try to fix it. If it is that there's an argument and you speak down to a man, if it is that there's an argument and you speak down to a man, and speaking down, we as women, sometimes we can be a bit lippy and we can sometimes say, well, what you're saying doesn't make any sense. To a man, you're disrespecting him and he's going to then shut down. So sometimes we women make complaints to say, oh, the man, he doesn't want to hear what we're saying. And he's not listening. He's not listening because what it sounds like is disrespect. And a man is not going to listen to anything that sounds like disrespect. So we're going to have to go to him and we're going to have to say, hey, babe, you know, I had this idea about so and so. What do you think? You know,
it's so funny. That's exactly how I approached the same issue I was having. When the next day I was like, should I ask him about the apology thing or not? And then I was just kind of like, I have this question on my mind. I don't know if I should ask you or not, but I'm just going to put it out there. See what you think about it. When you said so and so, and it just flowed. And it's funny because interacting with this person, I remember I used to have a real struggle. We've been working together for almost 3 years. I used to have a real struggle. I'd come to him to say something. And in my mind, instead of just listening to me, he starts to fix things. And I'm like, I didn't ask you to do anything. Like, why are you doing something? Like, sometimes I would start saying something and he's already at solution. And I'm like, I'm not even done saying what I'm saying yet. And it took me a long time to understand and value that, because I was just like, oh my God. Like, and I would say, can't you listen? And he would constantly say, I am listening. That's why I'm doing it. But I'm like, I didn't ask you to. I haven't gotten there yet. And then I realized long after, this show actually helped me because I realized I was actually killing something very special.
Yes.
He was, yeah, go ahead.
The funny thing about it though, you know, is sometimes we have to learn how to say it. So sometimes even with my husband, I would say, I'm not asking you to fix this. I just want to talk to you about something. So I start the conversation like that. So what I'm doing is when it is that he starts fixing and I cut it down, I'm not rejecting him, because then he's going to start feeling like I'm rejecting him and I don't want his help. Then he's not going to want to listen to anything that I say to him anymore because I have rejected him before. So I have learned the sandwich method of going to him to talk, or I'm learning of saying, hey, I don't want you to fix this. But hey, how do you think about this? Or this situation happened? You know?
You know, I was actually I was reading this piece today, Pastor. It's by Ad Quick. It's titled "The Glass Ego," and by Michael Beaufort. And interesting piece, and it was talking about how the male and female interact. And it was saying that, say, for instance, the lady asked the guy, your husband, to on the way home pick up a gallon of milk. You know, boy. Now he forgets. He just forgets. He's home now, and then she says to him, "Why are you so irresponsible?" He's thinking in his mind, "I just paid the last year's mortgage every day on time."
There you go.
How can I be responsible? You see? So the way she communicated to him, he's thinking, "Man, I forgot this one time, and I'm irresponsible." You see? So again, the communication. So I think a lot of times, when a woman communicates with a man, she has to realize that you got to, like I said, be more specific.
Yes.
Don't be so general. If you can possibly not be so general, be specific. Yesterday, I asked you to do this. I didn't like how you forgot it. Last night, you told me this, and then you didn't come true. So that's how he sees it, because in his mind, he said, I'm doing so much. I fixed the car inside it, take it out, get it all changed. I take this kid to school when he can't do it. I make sure every time we go in the car, I drive for you down, wherever you're going. I carry the heavy load every time. So he's thinking, hey, I'm the rock here. So when you irresponsible and you're careless and it's like, man, like, whoa.
But for someone who doesn't know, like I didn't know, like it took me this long, and not just that, it took my partner sticking around for me to learn the grave mistakes I was making. How do we bridge that gap? Like I did not, at one point I got to, let me just tell you who it is, because it's right here, Keith. Keith is my business partner. We've been working together for almost 3 years. And I'm telling you, it got so, it got to some stages where I remember there were times I want to say something to Keith and I don't know what happened between my brain and my mouth, because like what I had in my mind to say was not coming through my mouth. And I'm like, no, that's not what I'm trying to say. And it's like I had a criticism in my head, but that's not what I was saying. And I was like, okay, hold on. Like I felt like the blind man and the donkey. Like this is not what I'm trying to say. There were even times when we end up just in the middle of an argument, just praying, because it just felt like, and it took me a long time to realize that he's just trying to make it easy for me.
And something to her credit, I must say, to her credit, I've been a bit rough. I've come hard sometimes. I really have. And of course, she's reminded me as a male to also do some self-check too. And a lot of males is wanting to have the edge or the ego, is wanting to kind of pull back sometimes and say, what is she saying here? Let me kind of recheck and rethink, because we too as men can, we can come a little too hard, a little too strong, a little too abrasive sometimes, So to her credit, I give her credit for thinking it through and not letting the emotion stay too long, and rethinking and rehashing and come back in and we kind of meet again at halfway. And it's like, it becomes a breakdown into a breakthrough. So that's a good thing.
To be honest, Keith, that is why I figure we're doing purpose, because I did not choose to continue. I don't know why I did. Honestly, there were times where it's just what would happen is something would happen, and this voice in my head would have me thinking about it, like go back to the conversation. What happened? How was the interaction? Things like that. But this is what helped me. You stuck around long enough for the conversations to happen, for me to then start learning. Oh, okay. So even the other day when it happens, I'm like, oh, okay, that thing is manhood. That's what manhood looks like. Because I just didn't. It felt so abrasive to me. But then maybe my words felt just as abrasive to you, because I was coming hard too. Because I
hard becoming hard. Let's say it.
One of the things that as I look back, I'm like, how was I so frustrated? In that it's like he would anticipate my issues and I would start saying something and it's already done. And that frustrated me. And I had to start asking myself, why would that frustrate you? He's solving your problem. But like she said, at the top of it, I'm not asking you to fix anything. I would just like to be heard. Because for me, to be heard and understood was more important than fixing the problem. Right? Official Marcia J asks a question: how do you remedy the situation when you've already crossed the line of hurting his ego?
Pastor, can I ask a question, sir? Can I ask a question, Pastor?
Yeah, well, just be honest. Acknowledge what you have done. And go to the individual. And just simply say that, listen, this is what, I've realized, and I realized that this has not been helping you, and please be patient with me, as I work on this, and please, feel free to let me know, what you want, how you prefer when I speak to you, express to me some of the things that you don't like, that the words that I say and so you start by being honest, and then you start working, on yourself. And while you were speaking, Raquel, I observed that and something that I really appreciated is that willingness to change and that willingness to adjust. There's no positive and flourishing relationship without both individuals willing to learn and to adjust themselves. There has to be adjustment, and then there are some things that, to be honest with you, we're not necessarily pre-programmed with, certain knowledge, certain information. So as we interact with each other, we begin to learn, about each other, and we know, we discover the do's and the don'ts, and that will help, to, if it goes, if it goes the wrong direction, that will help to bring us back to a place of recovery.
Yes.
Pastor Davis, question. Have you ever had a moment in your marriage as a pastor where you felt your ego was so bruised, you were like, I'm not preaching today. I'm not preaching today.
Wow.
Somebody else take the wheel. Somebody else take the wheel.
Wow. Oh, wow.
I probably didn't, conclude that I'm not going to preach, but I've gone as far to say I really don't feel as if, I want to preach. Yes, it has happened. We have times of intense fellowship.
Wow.
It does happen, and that's a part of the reality. And then it's you have to go to the pulpit and it's unresolved.
Oh man,
and that's a challenge, But I tend to do well. I live on the church property, so what I tend to do is I when you're preparing yourself to preach, and the Holy Spirit is so interesting. Sometimes He puts a point in the message that really speaks to you, and while you're preparing, but you realize, but wait, am I not the one doing this now? I've had to go back over to the house, and say, honey, I'm sorry, and It doesn't always solve the problem. The problem still exists.
Wow.
But, at least we are in.
Some comedian,
some agreement here that hey, we're good.
So reconnecting,
Roy Ben says, thank you for being real, Pastor Kevin. You have my respect.
Yes,
I respect that too. I think
funny thing is, Coach, when I heard Pastor David said, he apologized.
Yes.
Not many men can apologize. Okay, that's powerful. Can't say that I'm wrong and saying I'm sorry. That's a word you don't always hear. Because as I was thinking about, a lot of times people were talking, what shape me understanding how men operate is just by watching my father, but I never saw him give any type of interaction with my mother. So I didn't really see a lot there, and he never ever said he was sorry. So that was a key. Something that he never said. He was never a person to say he was sorry. Even when you catch him in the wrong, he never says he's sorry. He's always got to be correct with people like that. He always had to be always correct. And if you say he's wrong, he would tell you you're disrespectful.
Wow.
And you can never tell him that he was out of line. So that was a big issue. So not understanding, how to just watch him operate like that all the time with everybody, and people look up to him like he was God because he was always the person that was always correct. He was never wrong.
You know what I've observed?
It's hard for you to, even when you meet a mate now, it's hard for you to, because they say girls marry someone like their father and guys marry someone like their mother.
I've heard that too.
Hard to, so it's more like a control type of thing. It was more controlling. So then you gravitate, you find a man that's the same type of situation. So you're moving from one place to the next place in the same situation. So, and you have to find a way to grow and evolve and get out of that. So when I disconnected, I had to find a way to stop attracting men like that, who are demanding and feel that they have to always be the one in control, always the one that always be correct, always be the one. They cannot. One thing I find with people, because I'm a person, I'll be first to apologize if I'm wrong about something. But it's hard to find men that will actually say they're sorry, or I made a mistake, and forgive me. Things like that. You don't hardly hear that, and it's more like, I want this done, I want that done. You better do this or you better do that. So it's all control, but they want you to do things for them as a woman. They want you to stroke their egos. They want you to praise them. They want you to reward them. They want to do different things, but they in turn are not willing to let go of some things and just be real in the moment or real in the relationship.
You know what I learned, and here's a comment here. I totally get it. I remember dating someone and I was harsh and God convicted me and I had to just yield and say, I'm sorry. It wasn't easy though. But I feel like when you are in a godly relationship, the Spirit convicts when necessary. I'll share this from my experience. I think one of the reasons I love my dad is because he was a broken man, very broken man, but he would always apologize. I mean, he apologized for everything. He's like, I apologize for being a bad parent. I apologize. Like, he would apologize to me, his child, just for me to understand. But I think what happened as I grew to interact with men, and this was an experience I had, the more God-centered, maybe is a word. I don't know if that's a word, or Christian then. I don't want to say Christian because I don't want the wrong meaning. The more connected the man seemed to be with God was the more the stronger his ego to me. It was harder for me to what you were saying, Apostle. It was harder for him to apologize. He was more alpha male. The more God focused he was, is the more alpha male he was. And it took me a long time. I remember being in a meeting with 3 men like that. And I felt like I had to get stronger and stronger. Like I had to sit up in my seat, like sit up, Raquel, to have this conversation. And it took a long time because I was going to battle with that man. But then it took experience for me to realize that it's not so much that they're not sorry. There's a difference between them not saying it and them not feeling it. I had to realize that. It's not that he wasn't feeling it, even though he wasn't saying it. But it's sometimes, I think there was a struggle from my experience where he was struggling with, how do I maintain my manhood, but do this thing that she wants? Yes. The way she wants it, because it's not like he wasn't doing it. So I had to check myself to ask myself, how was I expecting it? So was it a case where I wasn't getting it? Or was it a case where I wasn't getting it the way I wanted to get it, the way I expected to get it? And it took me a long time to realize that when I stopped expecting it my way, I got it. I was already getting it.
So
just not the way I expected it.
It's interesting, Coach Raquel. Let me ask Sister Lawrence here. In your marriage, do you think it's a good idea that if something goes down that causes some kind of discord or someone's upset, do you think it's okay for the wife to tell her husband to apologize or to wait for him to say it voluntarily?
I don't think we're to tell them to apologize. I think people need to do introspection on their own and decide if it is that they need to apologize. When there is an argument, I don't think people need to tell people generally, you need to apologize to me, because they may apologize.
I used to do that
and not even know what they might just apologize because you told them to apologize. They don't mean it. So don't exactly. They don't mean apologize to you. Allow people to come to you and say, "Hey, I am sorry." No, they can tell you exactly what they are sorry for or what they are apologizing for. And in my marriage, I think I expected at the beginning my husband to come and say, hey, you know, I hurt you too, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, me too.
And I did not get it. I did not get it. And I started to be resentful towards him because of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to learn that, hey, you don't force people to apologize. And it is when that I had taken a step back.
That's right.
And said, all right, God, you do this. I mean, because you're going behind a man every minute. Oh, you need to apologize. It's becoming nagging now to a man. A man now does not want to apologize to you. Their ego now is up front, so nobody's listening to anything because you're forcing him to do something. And we forcing men to do something, they're not gonna do it.
That is
They're gonna do it. They're gonna shut
I
down.
used to do that. As soon as you apologize to me,
Pastor
I
Davis.
used to be like, apologize to me. Apologize to me.
Pastor Davis.
But you know, they learn. They learn.
Pastor Davis.
Yes.
Hold on.
Yes. Go ahead, Dr.
That's it. What I think, you know, my take on it is that is that when it comes on to you know, being wrong and the fear of being wrong, it is true. You do have a point that we feel that if we admit that, listen, I was wrong, that it will undermine our leadership.
You make it less of a man. Yeah.
Exactly. We won't get that sense of respect that we so value, you know, and we will lose points, and we don't necessarily want that. But what the thing is, the Bible says that the woman is supposed to be a helpmeet, right? And you know, exercising that principle in this kind of context is allowing the man to feel that he's safe, to know that he's safe with you.
Yes.
Wherein, you know, if he makes a mistake, right, he makes the wrong call, right? You know, you said to him, don't buy that. It costs too much money and we're going to end up in trouble. And he goes and he just does it, you know, and it goes the wrong direction, you know. You know, he should not feel as if he has to defend himself constantly, because you are going to be putting him down if you if he admits that he was wrong. Allow him to feel safe that you know he can come to you and say, listen to me, I really, you know, I really should not have been that way, and he knows that you and he's not gonna lose your respect, right?
And that is it. That's so important.
Yes.
That's so important, Pastor Davis, because I'm thinking about couple weeks ago, a couple that they were getting married. Something had happened with the man, and he was so afraid of how the fiance is gonna respond, and because she's always beating him down. And I said to both of them, I said it in front of him and her. I said to them, if it is that you feel like she's gonna beat you down because of this situation, it means she's not the person for you. It's my friend. But that is the situation, because as I said before, and men are not safe in their marriages, men are not safe in their relationships, because women have women tend to use things. So for instance, the man have messed up. Say you mess up, you always mess up. You always do whatever it is. There is no safe feeling for the man to mess up, because once he's messed up, everybody is knowing, because we are going to be loud about it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to make them feel like they always mess up. If it is that they made a mistake in something that was done, or they said something that, you know, is hurtful, they don't feel like they can make mistakes, so they hide things. So they tend to sometimes lie about things. So, and all of this is just because they want to be safe and they want the respect from us, and we're not giving it to them. So it's how it is that we speak to them, even when they come to us about a mistake or messing up, because there are situations where my husband have done things and I am upset about it, but I have learned to stop. I have learned to use the stop technique, where I stop and I breathe and I talk to myself. Talk to myself down, because if I open my mouth immediately, things are gonna come out, which is gonna demean him. And do I want that for my husband? Do I want that for the leader who God has given to me to lead me? No, I don't. So because I also I want it to be reciprocated to me when I make a mistake. I also need to give him the same grace I'm expecting from him and the same grace I'm expecting from God. Because if I look up to him as a person God has given to me, then I have to look up to him as how God would want me to look up to him despite. So there may be arguments, there may be things that upset us. There may be things that they have said, because sometimes men say things and don't think about it. And we women have to sometimes say, hey, men sometimes are not so emotional. Men sometimes just say stuff without thinking about the repercussions of it for us women. But sometimes we women are too emotional, and sometimes we need to take a step back to say, okay, what is the context about how you were saying this? What did you mean? We don't take time to say, what do you mean? What's the context? What was behind it? Were you trying to hurt me? We need to ask ourselves those questions before we answer, because it's our answers most of the time out of emotion that cause men to not respect us and not love us. And then we say, well, men are like this and men are this particular way and whatever. Yeah. I'm learning also to apologize. I have grown up and seen my father apologize, not all the time, but he has.
But he apologized.
But he apologized. And I am learning. I'm learning constantly that, listen, even if it is that he doesn't apologize, after I think about it for give me a couple minutes or a couple day or two. Let me think about it. I am going to also come and say, hey, I did this. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You know, and,
it's just before you go, Pastor Davis. Just before you go, Apostle Faith was saying something.
Okay,
Apostle,
sure.
Could you go ahead and say, and then we'll come back to you. Go ahead, Apostle.
Go ahead.
What? No, I was just agreeing with her about apologizing. That's key, you know. And what I was also thinking about what Lady Lawrence was saying as well. You know, all of what she was. It's all talks about listening and communication, that conversation. You know, listening to each other, learning how to respect each other, you know, thoughts and feelings, you know, because you have to feel secure as a man in who you are. And if women are looking for leadership, you gotta have that security. Don't feel so get so easily offended about things. You gotta know how to come across, how to really share your feelings, and don't keep it bottled up inside. You know, but let it be known, because we can't read your mind, you know. So it's important to share, to have that constant open communication in order for us to understand each other if you desire us to grow and build.
Yes. Well, Miss Norma Jarrett, a viewer, she says, if they should apologize and did not, that a gentle reminder is necessary.
That's true.
Is it fair?
Not really.
Is it fair when men realize women are being careful with men's egos by watching their approach? It makes a man want to do anything for a woman.
Yes.
Say yes. Go ahead, Pastor Davis. Go ahead.
I have a question for Pastor Davis, though, and
he's going to comment as well afterwards.
Right, when you finish.
It's I had a thought. Well, just a couple of things. One of them is that who says that men are not emotional? Who said that?
They are emotional.
Yeah, men are emotional.
Of course they are.
Yes, we are. We feel deeply. Now think about it. All right, on the streets of Jamaica, right? Do you see more, insane men?
That's a good one.
You understand what I'm saying?
More men. Wow, that's a powerful one.
We are not emotionally expressive. We feel it, but we don't show it. As often. Or there's one dominant emotion that we feel safe to show, and that is anger. Right? We feel that it's safe. That way, and we think it's manly and what have you. That, and it shows our strength, but really it doesn't in all cases. So the thing is, we don't express emotions, but we feel it, man.
Yeah. let me ask Pastor Davis this question.
But Pastor Davis,
Dr.
it's
Faith.
so important to
wait. Give her a moment, Keith.
Yeah, I'm
no,
sorry.
Go ahead, Apostle. Give her a moment, Keith. Go ahead.
Finish your thought, and I'm going to ask you both a question. When you finish your thought. Go right ahead, Dr. Faith.
Go ahead, Apostle.
Yeah, I was saying, Pastor Davis, it's so important to express emotions. A lot of times that don't happen. You know, and when you're not expressing your emotions, we don't know what to think. We don't know how to relate. We don't know how to respond. You know, so you have to let it out. You have to let us know how you're feeling, so as way we can deal with the situation. Because if you keep it bottled inside, you know, it may come up again in another instance. You know what I mean?
With us men, we like to give us some time, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
We process differently. Give us some time.
Yeah, and I think Gloria said it earlier when she said, when she said it, I really thought about it because I was one of those persons. The minute you do something, I'm like, apologize for that. But who am I to be dictating to you that you should apologize to me because in my own understanding you did something that you should apologize for? How do I know that you felt like you did something to apologize for?
Can I respond to that quickly? Just to say something. This is what many persons don't understand, you know. We have to learn from each other. There are some things as a man,
that's what I'm saying.
I am not going to think about.
That's what I'm saying.
I am not going to recognize it. I have learned, right? For over the years of being married, I have learned so much from my wife, and I've learned. It's as if it's like a whole world opened up to me. You know, I got married in my 20s, late 20s. You know, and I'm saying, but hold on, I never knew that was a problem. You know, and based on her observation of my interaction with persons, she would come and she said, you know, Kevin, this so and so, you know, and so and so. Wow. And I've been doing it for years, and I'm saying, but
you're so spot on.
Wow.
A lot of times when
there are some things we have to learn. So please say it to us. Tell us. Yes, that's it. We need you. You will see things as a woman that we will not see. And
that is absolutely true.
We just
because
that is so true.
Yeah, because that is why thank you for saying that. Because for me, that is why I kept correcting my partner. Yeah. Because for me, it wasn't even what happened to me. I had this this protective thing, like how he showed up in the room was so important to me, especially if someone else was there and something happened. I'd be like, please apologize. And to be honest, I didn't want him to necessarily apologize to me. I wanted his apology to demonstrate something in him. And it's so funny you said that, but it's true, because I could compare it with another relationship interaction I had with somebody else, and I don't ever feel a need to correct that person ever again. And so for me, like that male person, like whenever he does anything, it's like I don't go there because I feel like I got stonewalled and I feel like I got rejected. So whenever he does anything, that protection that I usually feel like, I'm just like, nah, just be who you want to be, whether it go downhill or whatever, I'm going to just let you be. But if the male matters to me, how he presents matters to me. And so I'm now learning, how do I do that in a way that it doesn't demean him? And so I think Keith had a question, and then we're going to go to our final question. Go ahead, Keith.
Yes. I'm glad you reminded me there. Just about forgot. Anyway, but the question I want to ask, Pastor, and you can just quickly, Dr. Faith and Pastor Davis, you know, being in a space of counseling couples, and I'll probably assume that you've probably done that maybe several times, or maybe many times. You have counseled couple when it comes to you with issues and so forth. Now, I want you to kind of tell the audience what it's like when you see a couple maybe apologize in front of you, like they make that change, that mental switch, whatever you call it, and they say, "Wow, you know, honey," and you see the man, maybe tears may flowing, or what is it like, and how important that is to happen in a couple? Because I'm sure right now the people may be going through struggles right now in the relationships. Probably, you know, some men are watching say, "Listen, I never really said pause to my wife before." Maybe my wife is saying, maybe I'm negative too much. So, but what have you seen in your counseling session that said, "Boy, that was powerful," and if we can achieve this, we can soar as people, individually and collectively.
I saw something that was just absolutely lovely. I was awakened one morning about between 4 and 5 a.m. And as I said, you know, I live where the church is. So this couple came in, and they had a situation. It was really bad, and the man was broken. He was broken. He based on what he did, the wife found out, and he was really broken. He was, you know, she feared that he was contemplating suicide, and you know, so I came to my office. We sat down, and you know, he confessed everything, and he just shared, you know, what happened, what he was going through, why he did what he did, you know. But what was so lovely, it's she would have had every right to condemn him. She would have had every right to, you know, go to the full length of justice. But that woman sat there, and she said to me that all she really wanted was for them to move on beyond that. You know, for the both of them to move on beyond that. And she was trying to just let him know that, listen, this does not define you, and this doesn't have to end you. You know, and both of them, as they spoke and so forth, and you know, at the end of it, they reconciled and they had peace. You know, what usually happens when at that kind of experience, right? Is there is growth. There is growth. There is as somebody had mentioned, transparency, where, you know, this person is saying that this is what I've discovered about myself, right? And I'm making this known to you. And for the other person to say, I see that in you. It doesn't look good, but I love you anyhow.
Wow.
There is growth, and it strengthens the relationship. It strengthens the relationship. You know, and that is what I value when I see things like that happen.
Wow.
First faith.
Wow.
Okay, because
That's
of time,
powerful.
I'm going to go straight to the final question. And the final question is how to value, mold, and leverage the ego for divine purpose, and why is the male ego an asset to be valued? Why is it an asset to be valued, and how do we value, mold it, and leverage it for divine purpose?
That's Apostle's question.
For all the persons on the panel.
Anybody can
Anyone can.
Oh, well, you know
Yes.
what? There is pride, right? But there is good pride and there's bad pride. If you allow me, a positive kind of pride is when I want to be seen as a man that takes care of his family, right? So I am not going to stay in bed, right, all day and relax while, you know, there are other things needs to be met and so forth. So pride in myself will push me to make sure, right, that I do what I can do my best to provide for my family. Pride, right? And please, I don't want you to laugh at me, but this is honestly how I see it. My pride will make sure that my wife does not look broken down.
Yeah.
Right? I make sure that when she leaves my presence and she goes to work, she's in a good mood, right? Because she's happy, and she puts herself together. And so I do whatever I can do as a man to make sure that she experiences happiness, right? And she shines. She shines, right? So you have the and that's ego, that's a positive aspect of it, right? So these are things that we can challenge each other as men. We challenge each other where that area is concerned. We challenge each other to stand up to our responsibility, right? And we don't back down because we say, all right, this thing, I want to look like a real man. The Bible says, act ye like men, be strong, right? So I show that kind of stuff, right, because it's manly. So that's the positive aspect of it, but then you have the negative, which we have mentioned before.
When it causes you to become narcissistic, what I'm hearing you say is that, right, that ego, the positive of the ego, and how we can leverage it is for it to be the driving force for positive.
Yes.
There you go.
Gloria,
Okay,
thoughts?
I was listening to Pastor Davis. All right, so I'm gonna speak for my husband. He's right here. So I'm speaking for him in terms of my husband's ego is to ensure that, as Pastor David said, I am taken care of and I'm happy. So therefore, I am not searching for anything else with any other man or with anybody else. So my job is to foster that. My job is to take care of him and make sure he is mentally and physically okay. And if it's to stroke him every day, that is my job. And it is not a job that it's hard to do because I decided to take on that job as being a wife to him. And his job to me is to ensure that I am taken care of and I am okay. So if it is that we do that to men, in turn, they need to they will do what they need to do to protect us, to cover us, to love us, as long as we respect them.
Thank you. Apostle Faith?
Powerful. Yes, I've heard so much tonight, on how to value men and their egos, and one thing what came to my mind when I think about Joshua, when the Lord told him to be strong and courageous, and to go out there and do the job that the Lord sent him to do. So I find if they're more committed to the Lord and let the Lord lead them and guide them in their relationships, will get stronger and be able to be open to change. I heard Pastor Davis talk about men strive for the need of respect. Okay, the desire, they also want that need, the willingness to change and adjust. So these are all part of it, and allowing a man to be safe with you. So these are all powerful things that we could value the male ego, and to help them to build and grow, and to also understand who they are as men. And also they need praise. They need to know that they are being supported, and you value them as a person in general.
Yes.
Wow. Well, I tell you, this might be the last few words here. I believe as we come to a close again,
but we just have one other thing after this, and
yes, you listen to LTR, of course. That's Talk Relationships. We have some amazing folks here, and I think that discussion has intrigued me. But again, I think that I'm reminded that you never stop growing. You always stay open. I think that's probably one of my strengths. Thank God. So as I get older, I try not to get stuck. There's something called when you get aged and stuck in that rut. I think I all want to remain to some degree, to flexible and pliable, and coachable and teachable. Some things I'm sure is not going to change. I don't want it to change. It's going to stay the same. Some things, because that's the way it is. But I think for the most part, I think that I've heard some very important things tonight that I think I can take away with, and so can the listeners, from these different perspectives. Dr. Faith, Lady Lawrence, and Pastor Davis, really powerful stuff. And I know that it's a blessing. I feel blessed, and I feel even more enthused, empowered Yes, and to be a better man, personally,
awesome.
And it's a good thing.
Boy, I have to say thank you to you all. The conversation was so positive, and I was a little nervous tonight because I really wanted it to be positive because of the topic. I really wanted to. I'm hoping, it's my hope that when a man listens to this, because we had a guest that was supposed to come on, and I'm just going to share something he said. He said yes initially, and then he changed his mind and he sent this message. He said, I'm thinking I might not even be a best fit for this conversation, to be entirely honest with you. I'm probably too broken to confidently deliver on the topic, but I know I would definitely benefit from listening. It's been such a struggle with even my own self. I'm not the person I used to be. I feel a lot has changed. Maybe that's just human, but I'm in a really heartbroken place for many reasons, and I'm actually struggling, to be honest, but we can keep in touch on that. And to that man, I want to say, I hope that this conversation was wholesome, so that as you listen, it can inspire you. It can inspire you. It took me a long time, and as I look back, I think I might have been very jagged, because I really didn't understand. I mean, I just tossed and turned, so I was just losing my mind. That's why we did the show, because I started doing my own research, and I wanted to learn why is it that he speaks French and I speak Spanish and none of us can understand each other? Like, why is it I say A and he says A, but we're still blank? Like this, I used to call it the gap. I call it the gap between us. Like, there's this gap. I speak, you speak, but none of us gets it. And I realized that I cannot change anyone but me. And I think this ego thing and understanding how the ego works, I think the right ego will be wholesome to you. And I think sometimes in interacting with a man, I think that ego thing and how it interacts with you will tell you whether or not that's your ego to deal with, if that makes sense. Like, is this your person? Because I think a man who doesn't want to hear what you have to say, stonewalls you and stuff, maybe that's just not your ego to deal with. And it's something to really look into. But as I listened to you all speak tonight, I'm just so encouraged. It was so positive. I learned so much, and it was so wholesome. So I just want to say thank you for that. And just some comments before we go to, I'm going to introduce Kimberly Chambers, and she has a special message to share. But I want to look at, I did answer Marsha's Royal Events question, and then Norma Jarrett, she said, if they should apologize and did not, then a gentleman. I think we shared that already. Do men feel deeper than us? I suspect women. I'm not sure how to interpret stonewalling and such. I think men feel, well, we're all human beings, right? And we all feel, I think when someone moves themselves away, they may just not be able to handle something that's happening, or they just need time. Like I think Gloria said, give them time, to settle down, and also recognize when you're in a space, or because there's a real thing of sometimes we're wanting things that's not what God wants for us in that moment. We have to be able to identify those things as well. We need to understand that a man's chemistry is so different from that of a woman. They protect their ego at all times. So the woman must study her man. And I think Gloria covered that very, very well. I see you. Yeah, I think we've covered all of them. So let me welcome you, Kimberly Chambers.
Yes, welcome. Welcome, Kimberly.
Joining us. I know you have something special to share with all of us tonight. So I'm just going to allow you to go right ahead.
Good evening, everyone. And it's such a pleasure to witness the tail end of this conversation. I think this is definitely needed, especially in such a dynamic time where, families are kind of stuck at home a lot more than they used to be. So, really getting to know your partner and your family members included is a real key component to the happy medium. Sorry.
That's all right.
The happy medium. Excuse me, give me one moment. The happy medium that will create the equilibrium and the harmony between relationships. So I'm essentially Kimberly. I'm a wellness advocate with doTERRA. And what I do is that I actually sell natural solutions for health and wellness, which highlight essential oils. This week we have a special BOGO, which is buy one, get one free. We're giving out oils. When you purchase one, you'll get a freebie all this week. We also have a all-inclusive package that you can get up front, which is composed of 12 oils, basically getting buying 5 and getting 7 free. And
wow.
I'm getting my oil. I'm getting my oil this week.
Yeah, so
wow.
Be great to get, and especially in the subject of relationships, these are oils that can really help unify the bonds between husband and wife, relationships in general. We have the aroma touch, which helps with stress.
Can I see it?
Can you show it? Are you able to show it, Kimberly?
If you can, that'd be great. If you
If
can.
not, let us know.
Currently not at the moment.
That's all
Not a
right.
problem. That's okay.
But they're basically your conventional essential oil bottles. Excuse me, Leo. Excuse me, one moment. Thank you, Leo. We have Deep Blue, which is also a part of the package. And that's going to do, that's for tired muscles. We have Purify, which is going to help eradicate unwanted odors throughout the home, creating a very, very nice environment for you. We also have the Adaptive, which is going to help with calming and soothing, reducing feelings of anxiousness. We also have Immortel, which helps reducing signs of the appearance of aging, and many other freebies along with that. So it's going to be a great, great week for those of you who want to get on board with essential oils.
What can we get it?
With you signing on, you get my complimentary consultation.
Ooh. Making me jealous. I want mine. What's going on here?
I got my little case here. Got my little case
as well. Please get yourself a diffuser so you can actually steam the room with these natural solutions. Yes, that's very important. So, so that's what I wanted to share with you guys. You can check me out on Essentially Kimberly on the website. And
excelproject.com/essential Kimberly. Sorry, go ahead, Kimberly. It's on the screen. You can see it scrolling. Go on, Kimberly.
Must have a space.
Hello, little man.
I see your face looking on in.
Hello.
Yes, that's they say hello to everybody.
Hey, buddy.
Okay. So I just want. Go ahead.
Yeah, she said hello to you. Did you hear her? Yeah. So
we just want to leave you with this last bit of information: how to deal with male ego in relationship. You were finished, right, Kimberly?
Yes, I was. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming.
You're so welcome.
Kimberly.
Thank you for coming. Tip number 1: positive criticism. When dealing with the male ego that does not like to be contradicted or opposed, you need to phrase your criticism in a positive way so that they are not hurt by it. Number 2, articulate your appreciation. When coping with male ego, make sure you appreciate your man for everything he does or even for just being him. Number 3, give them control. The beauty of it is that men who are sure of their control will always give importance to your opinion. That's interesting. Number 4, reassure your man. Reassuring your man never hurt anybody when dealing with the male ego. Do not hesitate to reciprocate when he expresses his feelings. And number 5, the desire to be complete. But what you may fail to notice is that what arouses your man most is the fact that you desire him as much as he desires you. Number 5,
that's true.
Learning the rules make it easy to play. I like that. While dealing with the male ego, try to learn what gives him most pleasure and happiness and what hurts him. Number 7, the need to be needed. If you feel that your male counterpart is having an ego and hesitating to come towards you, the best thing you can do is to make them feel your importance. And number 8, and we have one more, no comparisons, please. Men do not like to be compared with other men, whether in their career, appearance, performance, or whatever. And the final one, number 9, the yearning for recognition. Men have a yearning to be recognized for what they do. A failure in this may make them show ego. I would like to add number 10. We remember the self-awareness wheel. You sense in that you may hear him say something or see him do something or whatever the case is. The next step you go to is processing. Are you thinking about it? It means you're adding meaning to it. Be conscious of the meanings you add to what a man does and then saddle him with it. When it was your own understanding. Something I had to learn. I had to separate my own understanding from what was really happening. Because for a long time, for example, like sometimes when a man don't apologize, like she said, there's a little resentment that I had, and I had to recognize that resentment because it was coloring all our other interactions. So I would just like to say, be conscious and be in awareness of how you're interpreting him, because what you're interpreting could blind you from real pain he may be experiencing, lack of knowledge that he may have, as well as it can cause you to add meanings that are not necessarily there, except in your own mind. Your final words, please.
Well, you got a minute, y'all. Make it happen. Whoever goes first.
If you have anything else to say, you may go ahead.
Yeah, just a minute, and I close it out if you don't mind.
Yes.
Just understand and respect the person who you're with.
Great. Could you also share your podcast where they can get it?
Okay, it's The Unfiltered by Jade. It's The Unfiltered by Jade on Instagram and The Unfiltered by Jade on YouTube.
Awesome. Thank you.
Dr. Faith?
Well, all I say is just to value him, give him support, and give him praise. Let him know that he's needed and that he's important. He's an important person in your life. And the more you openly communicate, your feelings is also important as well.
Awesome.
Pastor Davis, any final
Well,
words?
let him know that whatever is important to him is important to you. Never belittle him, never undermine him, never let him feel as if he's irrelevant. Let him know that he's a significant driving force in your life, and that will help. Yeah.
Awesome.
Go ahead, Keith.
And let me say, we had missed Lady Misty tonight, but we love her, and we pray that equipment would all come together. But we thank you, Coach Raquel, for stepping in like you always do.
My pleasure.
Like a sideline is just waiting. You know what I'm saying? I love it. She just comes in to make it happen. So again, thank you so much for your quick engagement, a quick response to making it happen tonight. I just want to say, ladies, I got my glasses on, like Pastor. I'm doing my thing. I'm happy. I'm excited. COVID's not quite gone, but I'm still here, so I'm thankful. I'm gonna live every day like it's my last day. But again, you guys are phenomenal.
Yeah,
great, brilliant.
I love this conversation.
Inspiring.
Thank you.
And I hope we can do it again. So again, thank you guys. You guys are awesome. And God bless y'all. All right.
God bless
so
you.
To the audience as well.
Bless you
thank
too.
you guys.
Thanks for the invitation.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank
Have a good night.
Let's talk.
Thank you so much.
Relationships on UMEradio.
So what are we talking about?
Marriage, dating, parenting, business,
and love, emotions, sex.
It's a conversation with me, Lady Misty,
and DJ KTE
on everything from hot topics to taboos.
Join us Mondays at 9 p.m. live on UMEradio.
Follow us at Let's Talk Relationship Show on Facebook or on UMEradio on Instagram. Let's talk relationships, arguments for the grown.